For our next example, this is a real life situation where a girl wants to sew a new blanket, and to create a new blanket, it would require 6 yards of fabric. Okay, so far, she has collected 3 pieces of fabric. 1/3 piece, 3/4, and 2/5 pieces. Okay, 2/5 yard. The question is, how many more yard of fabric does she need? Okay. Sometimes when you are faced with a word problem, if you reread the question again, it would help make things more clear. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do next. So it says to sew a new blanket requires 6 yards of fabric. So far, Sue has collected 1/3, 3/4, and 2/5 yard of fabric pieces. How many more yards of fabric does Sue need? Okay, so here I have 3 pieces, and I'm going to add them up to see if it's enough to make a new blanket. Okay, so step 1, let's find out how much she has already collected. Okay, so step 1, find out how much Sue has already collected. Are you going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? If you say add, you are correct. Now, you are going to add 1/3 plus 3/4 plus 2/5, right? The problem is that their bottom number, their denominators are different. So we need to make it the same, okay? And to do that, let's find the least common multiple of these 3 numbers, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so the LCM of 3, 4, and 5 is, well, let's find the multiples of 3. The multiple of 3 is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, okay? Right? The multiples of 4 is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So far, 12 is the least, right? But we cannot settle on that because there's also a 5 here. So the multiples of 5 is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Okay? So 4 and 5 have 20 in common, but 3 does not have a 20. The next number in 3 is a 21. So hard to find the LCM of these 3 numbers, but one way to get the LCM for sure, or one way that you are guaranteed to find LCM, is if you multiply 3 times 4 times 5. This way, whatever you get there will definitely be the LCM. Okay, so ask yourself, what's 3 times 4? 12. 12, right? Times 5 is 60. Okay, let's go with that. Now, we can add up the 3 pieces. Okay, so let's find the equivalent fractions of these 3 guys here. Okay? So the equivalent fraction of 1/3 is, well, it's going to be something over 60. Okay, so ask yourself, 3 times what is 60? Times 20. Okay, so take 1 times 20. I get 20. Okay, let's do the same for the 3/4. here. 4 times what is 20? 4 times 15. So take 3 times 15. I get 45. Okay. The other piece is 2/5. Will be equivalent to what over 60? So take 5 times 12, 2 times 12 is 24. Okay? So, to find out how much fabric Sue has already collected, we need to add up these 3 guys there. So, the bottom number stays the same, 60. The top number, let's add them up, 20 plus 45 is 65. 65 plus 24 is 85 plus 4 is 89. Okay? So far she's collected 89 over 60 yard of fabric. So if the top number is bigger than the bottom number, we need to reduce it. So ask yourself, how many times can 60 go into 89 without going over? 1 time. The remainder is 29 over the bottom number, which is 60. Guys, I'm hoping that you are able to see this part of the screen there. Now, Sue has collected 1 yard and 29 over 60. And that's not very much compared to the 6 yard that she needs. Okay, so the question asks you for how many more yards of fabric does Sue need? Okay, are you going to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Okay, let's subtract. 6 yard minus what she already have, which is 1 and 29 over 60. Okay, that will tell us how many more yards she needs. So, we need a number here so that we can subtract. Okay, so this is a little bit tricky. Since there's nothing here, I'm going to put something there. And to do that, we need to borrow 1 from the 6. The 6 become a 5. If you borrow 1, well, remember 1 is the same as 60 over 60. Okay? Any number over itself is 1. So, this will give us something to work with here. Now we can subtract 5 minus 1, give us 4. The bottom number stays the same. Now you can take 60 minus 29, which is 31. Okay, so we can conclude now that Sue needs 4 yard and 31 over 60 more yard in order to sew her new blanket. Okay, a lot of work for that answer there. So let it sink in.